All right, so hello everyone. I am Victoria and I'm here with my co-host Anna. And this is the podcast where we are discussing the light bulb moments within our lives as well as our guests' lives. So today's episode is the moment we use UNG resources, and we are joined by fellow UNG services. We have tutoring and Nighthawk Navigators as well as our own SI group. So we're going to find out a little bit more about everybody. Um, Brett, if you want to kick us off, if you want to just give a quick introduction about yourself and like where you're from, how you joined UNG and different roles that you play at UNG.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Brett Chafin. I'm here representing tutoring services on the Dahlonega campus. I'm originally from Edgefield, South Carolina, which if you don't know where that is, you go to Augusta, Georgia, head north about 20 miles into South Carolina, and it's a small little town there. I came to UNG because I was originally interested in doing ROTC, and then I decided like mid-application, I did not want to do ROTC, but I still like the campus. So that's why I'm here. The different roles I've been within the school, I was the secretary of the honors program for 3 semesters. I'm currently the vice president of the honors program. This is my 3rd semester working as an SI, and also my 3rd semester working in tutoring services.
Awesome. Simon, if you want to do a quick introduction as well.
Sure. I'm Simon Sisler, and I go to the Oconee campus. I would say I'm representing the tutoring center for the Oconee campus. I've actually worked on that campus for the past 5 years, just doing different things, working for their cafe, and also now working for the tutoring center, which I really enjoy because you learn a lot working on campus. I don't know what else there is to say about myself, but I am a marketing major, and I have been going to UNG for about 6 years.
So, all right, Valentina.
Hello, everyone. I'm Valentina. I was born in Bogota, Colombia, which is not in this country. And I was brought here when I was 2 years old, and I grew up in Sugar Hill, Georgia, which is like near Beaufort. I started out my college journey at a different university. I started out at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. It was very far, and it wasn't really the preferred experience that I wanted. I didn't even know UNG existed until I was at that university. So when I was looking into transferring, I looked into UNG, and then COVID hit. So I've had a very weird journey at UNG, but I still love it. I'm primarily on the Gainesville campus. I've been to the Dahlonega campus. I was about to have to take classes next semester there, which I was excited about, not excited for the drive. But either way, I love UNG. I love all of the campuses, and I actually really like the people on every campus. Every time that I think I know UNG, I go to like a new event or I meet new people, and it's like probably the best part about this university, how diverse we have of a student population, how many different campuses we have. I'm representing today the Nighthawk Navigators, which is a relatively new program that was created about I think it was 1 semester before COVID. This is my 1st semester actually as a Nighthawk Navigator. We're a new program that was basically created to help make sure that students that are struggling, especially in their first few semesters at UNG, get the appropriate help they need, whether it's with academics, registration, knowing where different buildings are, learning what the campus is like, learning what kind of clubs and events we have, all that stuff. We're basically trying to make sure that before students even consider withdrawing from a class or leaving UNG, that they have the right resources, that they understand what our campuses look like, how to be a student, how to succeed as a student in general, how to take a full load of classes while you're working, stuff like that. We have different navigators on every single campus. I know we have one in Dahlonega, Oconee, and I think Cumming as well, at least. So we're encompassing all of UNG. I'm just a representative from Gainesville. But yeah, our goal has been trying to get our name out there. So this is why we're here. This is why I'm here.
Awesome. I know Valentina already gave like a quick description of her academic service, which is fun because it's new to me. Also, I'm from 2 hours south of Mercer, so I know exactly where that is.
Cool.
But if we also want to give a brief description about SI and tutoring, Brett, you can take either SI or tutoring. It's up to you because you do both.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just take tutoring because that's what I'm here representing. So, tutoring services, it's what it is it's more reactive. So it's for the students that are struggling in a class or just want a little bit of extra help or extra guidance. They can come into the tutoring services centers. We have them on just about every single campus. And the good news is for the students, it's free. It comes out of your tuition. You've already paid for it, so you might as well use it. I know on the Dahlonega campus, we have tutors in the tutoring services center from 8 to 8 on Mondays through Thursdays and 8 to 3 on Fridays. And we have someone that can tutor just about all of the subjects there, meaning we have someone that can tutor chemistry, biology, and math there just about all the time.
Awesome. Simon, is there anything different on the Oconee campus that makes it like a little different than Dahloneg's version
I
of it?
mean, other than the view out the window, no. We do have a really good, very well lit tutoring center. We have these beautiful windows, but our staff, I would also say, makes it unique because we have people like Jeffrey who have been here for so long that people will come back from UGA and be like, I need to talk to this math tutor. And I think that that is just really special because they make these connections with each and every student. And that's something that I just appreciate about them. I think it's because we are a smaller campus, but we have a very diverse and unique staff.
That's awesome. Anna, do you want to give a quick thing about SI? I know we've talked about it in previous ones, but it's always good to have a refresher.
Yeah, sure. So, like Victoria mentioned in the beginning, I'm sort of the co-host for this podcast, but I'm also a returning facilitator. I've been facilitating for about 4 semesters, and a lot. So basically what we do is it's a peer-led group study session. Basically someone who's taken the class goes in, sort of sits through the class again, takes notes, to make sure that they're following along exactly with the professor, and then they'll hold 2 sessions and like a bonus hour or an office hour every week. And that's for the students to come in and sort of have guided study time. So like you're not just reading through your notes on your own in your dorm, you're going through activities and getting sort of a more diverse learning experience. So it's just another resource for students to come in and do their best in class.
Awesome. So I know we briefly touched on this, but would any of you like to describe more about what your group can offer to students that you think is like the best part about it and kind of the reason people should go?
Well, I'm going to speak again on the Oconee Tutoring Center. Like I said, we do have like a unique staff that helps each and every student. But we also have, since it is a small space, I think that it's better because it gives students more privacy when it comes to tutoring, because for some students, they think that tutoring is embarrassing, which is not true. I also like that because our campus is so small, all of our tutors make almost friends with the students, and that keeps them coming back, and that makes them want to invite their friends. And we have a lot of people that actually will come out and just hang at the tutoring center, and if they have questions, then they can feel free to ask.
Yeah, that's really
I'd
cool.
like to add on to that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Oh, you're
Victoria.
fine.
I'd just like to add on to that. The Tutoring Services Center in Dahlonega is very similar in the way that we do that, because a lot of people, like what Simon said, there's a negative stigma around tutoring. They think that, asking for help in a subject that they don't understand is bad. But once they get over that stigma and they realize that tutoring services is here to help them and that it will in the long run benefit them, they come, and then they typically come and keep coming and keep coming. And that's just really reassuring for me that like the students that are struggling, they're getting the help that they need. And because they're getting the help that they need, they're actually doing better in the classes that they're in.
Awesome.
For my program, like the Navigators, I think there's a lot of differences between us and tutoring and SI, but also some similarities. So the number one thing is that we don't have like a physical place to meet, which is kind of a good thing because we mostly meet with our students either in person one-on-one or through Zoom or through Teams. So I could be in Gainesville and helping somebody in Oconee or Cumming or Dahlonega. It doesn't really matter. Also, my job is to kind of facilitate all of these resources to students, especially first year students don't even know that we have free tutoring offered on every campus, or that you have SI tutors or people that work in SI in certain classes. So the first thing I do when I sit down with a student, okay, what are the classes that you feel you're struggling with? Have you considered going to tutoring? Have you considered talking to SI? Have you even talked about, talk to your professor during office hours? My job is to basically try to provide you with every possible resource that you can to succeed. And outside of tutoring and like academic success, we're also just trying to get students acclimated to the environment of college, especially first generation students. They don't necessarily know how these processes are different, how these processes in high school different from college. So how does orientation look, and what is that? What are you getting signed up for? When you're registering for classes, what is degree works? Who is my advisor? Why are they important? These are all things that we can help all of our students with. And so my job is to basically connect all of us together, basically make sure that students know that we all exist and how we can all help them succeed in college.
I'm going to jump in. Valentina, something you said reminded me to mention something. So a pro of SI is being someone who has taken a class before and you're back in the classroom. You're sort of like the bridge between the students and the faculty professor, and you're in the classroom every time. And so I know from talking to Brett, who's also a facilitator, that I think he meets with his faculty every week.
Yeah, I facilitate for biology 1108, which mainly focuses on like evolution and then the context of like what is a plant, what's a fungi, what's a protist, what's an animal, stuff like that. And that class, it's very intense on the student. So what I do is I meet with the professor that teaches it, Dr. Barding. I meet with her every Wednesday at around 1 o'clock ish. And we just talk through like what she's going to be teaching that week. What are some things that students that are in the class have traditionally struggled with, and how I can help them.
But yeah, it's something that I wanted to mention since you talked about linking together students and professors. That's something that SI does try to do. So glad that it is where students can get that multiple places on campus.
Valentina, have you seen like with your service, like people getting more confidence to go to these? Because I know everyone mentioned that it's like really hard to like initially go to tutoring because there's such, or SI, because there's such stigma that we originally have. Do you think it's like really helped the student body?
Oh, for sure. I've had several students just this semester alone, which is my first semester, who either didn't know it existed or were uncomfortable going by themselves. They were like, well, I don't know if I'll know anybody, and it'll probably be upperclassmen who are a lot smarter than me. And I explained to them, look, there's students who are obviously very smart, but they are there to help you and guide you in whatever you need for this class. If you're struggling with just one topic in particular, they will help you with that. They went through it. They might have also struggled with it, but they just figured out something that helped it click better, and they want to help you make that connection. And I try to make it really clear to the students that I work with that college is not something that you are born knowing how to handle. It's not something that you are expected to know on day one. It is something that everybody learns. When I started at a different institution, I had to learn everything by myself, being a first generation student. My parents, they went to school in a completely different country. They didn't know what it was like living on a college campus. They didn't understand how the dorm situation worked. They didn't know what all of these offices meant. And so I had to navigate that by myself. And that's what we're kind of trying to help. We're trying to help people accept that help is okay, that we all learned this, that we're all in the same spot, and that all we're trying to do is help you, because we all would have liked that. You know, the navigators weren't around when I was a transfer student, when everything was shut down, when I only went to UNG like 1 day a week. I didn't know anybody on campus. I would have loved to have had somebody that I could have just met with on Zoom that could have explained to me what all these services were, and that it was okay to just ask for help. We're trying to do that every time we work with a student, and encouraging them to go to SI, to tutoring, when they feel like they're overwhelmed with stuff. Also teaching them those study skills. Maybe they're understanding the material, but they aren't understanding how to study for it. And all of these resources are there to help them, not to make them feel judged or pressured. And once they go, they realize that, and they want to keep going. Every time that they realize that I didn't get this in class, they feel more inclined to go back to ask somebody, even if it's only for 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's really cool. For Brett or Simon, do you think there's anything that like tutoring does to try to like get more people to come that like would originally not feel like, or just be too scared to go?
Well, they actually do offer like help through teams and stuff like that. And I'm sorry about that. But people find that going online is a lot easier and more convenient. So that way you don't have to bring a friend. And let's say it does go wrong and you feel anxious, okay, you just log off. So it's a lot easier. And when they started offering that, that's when I felt like more students were looking for tutoring, because when it's more convenient to them, they're more likely to come to us.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, I know on the Dahlonega campus, what we've started doing is each semester around the time that like the first test hits, so about like a month into classes, we'll email different faculty and ask if we can give a short like 1 to 2 minute presentation, just talking to their class about what tutoring services is, where we're located, the services we provide students. And on the Dahlonega campus, we've gotten a lot more students in the past 2 semesters since we started doing that than we did when it first started. And a lot of it's because of that, and because the faculty have started encouraging their students in office hours. If the students come to professors' office hours and are asking questions, the professors will be like, hey, have you tried SI? Have you tried tutoring services? So some of the professors are also funneling students towards tutoring services to get them the extra help that they need.
I know with SI too that some like facilitators are really able to get like a lot of students to come to their sessions. Is there anything you think that is special that they do like to get people to come?
I mean, with SI, it's a little bit different. What I've found is that if your faculty member lets you make announcements in class, like, like 1 minute announcements, like each class, just reminding the students like, hey, I'm having an SI session at this time in this room, and giving them like the information that you're going to go over. So they know, hey, I've been struggling with that. That'd be a great idea to go to this session. I found that works really well. I actually had an SI session yesterday. That was an exam review for a test that they have to take next Monday. And I had 14 students show up. And that class only has about 35 in there to begin with. So I was impressed with how many of them showed up because of that.
Yeah, I'll jump in too. And like you said, Brett, just the facilitator being active in the class, I've seen and experienced that's what gets students to come to session the most, if they like see you over and over and over again and you're constantly reminding them. But also I know some facilitators are really active in their group meet. So a facilitator will usually have like a group meet for their class, and that's where they can like send out reminders or like, hey guys, session today, or like, don't forget the exams coming up, things like that. And some facilitators just go above and beyond in their group chats, making sure that like they add resources from session for students who didn't get to go. And so from what I've seen observing their sessions, they get pretty good attendance.
I know we've had really good attendance this semester specifically. I know it's like skyrocketed from what I've heard as different things. Since you were like referred to be on this podcast, do you think there's anything like that you do to lead other people in your service?
That's a good
I can-
question. Oh, no, you go first because mine was not good.
No, I am 100% confident and it was great. But so I mentioned that I'm the co-host, but I'm also a mentor for this semester. I'm an intern mentor, and by next semester should hopefully be full-fledged mentor. So yeah, that's I'm taking on a little bit of a leadership role, and Brett is too. He's training. So
Yeah, mine's a little bit different because I'm still in the training process. She's like, a semester ahead of me in terms of like what she's learned. But yeah, I mean, I'm in the process of being trained as an intern mentor within SI, and then also within tutoring services. Um, we, I'm one of the more advanced, so to say, biology and chem tutors, just based on the classes I've taken. And yeah.
Simon, I'm very curious as to what you were going to say.
What I was going to say was that I don't have like a leadership position or role in my tutoring center other than like I am like the face of our like tutoring center. Like when people come in, I'm the first person they see. So the fact that I am a student makes them feel more comfortable. And all I was going to say was just that I appreciate the position that I am in. And I am really glad that students feel more comfortable coming in and talking to me than, a different staff member per se.
Oh yeah, that is awesome. That's great. Being a welcoming face, because a not welcoming face isn't going to invite anyone in.
That is very true. Valentina, are there different like levels of roles in Nighthawk Navigators? I'm still learning with you on this, so
Yeah, no, that's what's encouraged. Ask questions, please. No, we really don't have necessarily leadership positions. So we do have one coordinator. Her name's Dr. Rebecca Connolly. She's the person who hires all of us, who trains us over the summer. She's the person who we talk to about basically everything. She's not a Nighthawk Navigator. She is actually like our coordinator. And then the rest of us, we all kind of take leads on different projects. So I have done like a few pop-up sessions on the Gainesville campus to try to spread the word about Nighthawk Navigators. I've done probably more than some of my other like Nighthawk Navigator people. We have some people that take more of an initiative doing like our Instagram posts and getting the word out that way. Some people who prefer to, which we do actually have an Instagram for Dahlonega, which is probably, well, it's the whole Nighthawk Navigator Instagram, but it's more popular on the Dahlonega campus. Because on Gainesville, Oconee, and Cumming, it's not necessarily as popular to see that. We mostly operate like through flyers in the student center and stuff like that. So yeah, we don't necessarily have leadership positions. We just have different people take up different leads on projects or stuff like that. But yeah, there's not necessarily designated positions. We are all kind of like a little community that are all trying to help our students. Kind of similar to like the tutoring. We all kind of just have different strengths that we use in order to provide our services to students.
yeah, that's really cool. I was thinking, what originally got y'all to join these positions? Because I know I run marketing for SI and I am a marketing major, and I thought it would be really good to help like boost me for a resume and career, and I ended up loving it. So what do y'all think of what initially led you to it?
So what initially got me into SI and tutoring services is I'm a biology education major. So that means I want to teach high school biology and also chemistry. So what got me in was thinking, hey, this would be great practice. It'd give me an opportunity to make sure that I like actually know and understand this material. It will give me experience helping students understand it as well, which in turn will help me in the future when I actually do start teaching.
Well, for me, my position in the tutoring center, I essentially just do like makeup tests, check out calculators, help students with directions, help students find the tutor they need, things of that nature, which I never thought I would do, but I knew I wanted to work in something with like almost like human resources, but I also wanted to work on campus, and there's not for, a student, that's not exactly like a position that is available yet. So I thought a position in the tutoring center will be just as good. Well, I found out that I loved it, and now I just don't want to ever leave. I'm going to, but helping students has definitely made me love the job even more.
Yeah, for me, it was a really interesting process. So ever since I've been at UNG, I've worked full-time and done full-time classes. And then spring of this year, so 2022, I saw a flyer that was promoting the Nighthawk Navigators, and it was like a new position that was fairly recent. And so, fun fact about me is I've been a manager at McDonald's. It's the one in Oakwood, right near the campus of UNG. And so I work full time. And because of that, I've always felt that I'm not able to engage on a college campus as well as other students because I just have a very busy schedule. And a lot of the events, especially on Gainesville, are in afternoons, which is when I'm working. So when I saw that this position, like they were looking for people to fill these positions and that it was mostly going to be online, I was like, this is the perfect fit. It will fit within my schedule and it'll allow me to meet other people on campus. And the funny thing is, when I got to the training sessions, we actually all started talking about all the different jobs that we've had because most of us have like at least another job that we do. People have worked at like Target, Topgolf, sandwich shops, ice cream shops. And it was just really funny to hear everybody's different experience on customer service and how we were all kind of tired of it. We wanted something like better that would like actually serve our community, allow us to engage with students. And I will probably do this until I graduate, like hands down. This is like one of the best jobs I've had, getting to meet all these different students with all these different backgrounds, needs, levels of engagement. It's just really, it kind of makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than you, which is, I guess, why we're all in these organizations and why we keep coming back. So for me, that's why I initially joined, just because I thought it would be a good fit for me. And since then, it has been a really positive experience, and I will definitely be here till my last semester.
Well, I got involved in SI because my freshman year, I came into college, I'm a bio major, so I was having to take a bunch of like intro to sciences classes. And my intro to chem class, let me say, it was rough. And there was an SI whose sessions that I went to, and at the end of the semester, he was like, hey, you've been coming consistently into sessions. I would encourage you to apply. And, if this is something you're interested in, then you could also work as an SI. And basically he was really encouraging, and he's the reason I didn't fail a class. And I was like, I'm going to go for this. And I applied and got in. And my first semester I did SI for chemistry. And then the next semester I switched my major and moved to biology, which is where I've been. And I kept coming back semester after semester. And then I had some friends who were mentors who have now graduated, and they encouraged me to apply for the mentor position. And I'm still learning. I'm enjoying it, and there's a lot more focus on like leadership and communication than I thought. And so I have absolutely gotten way more out of it than I thought that I ever would.
Yeah, I think it is really important for students to consider working on campus because, like a lot of y'all said, it's a really good experience, not only because like you're always here, but I feel like you get more freedoms than you would at most of your regular jobs, and you get the perks of knowing more people on campus that you can further connect with and stuff like that. Because I know my first semester, I've worked most of my life in high school and everything, so I was like, oh, I can go work like out in the square or something in Dahlonega, it'll be fine. And it was not fine. And I was like, maybe I should look at other stuff. And one of my old professors sent me the SI marketing job, and he was like, I think you should try to do this. And I started, and it's been much easier to fit into my schedule than most things. And now I know a bunch of more people on campus that I see on the daily. So yeah, it's been a really good experience. So I would encourage people to look at different on-campus jobs. There are a lot of them, especially if you're on a bigger campus like Dahlonega, or I've seen a lot on Oconee and other places too. So I think there's jobs for everywhere. Um, what do y'all think has been one of your favorite moments working in your academic service? It can be like just a daily thing or like an event or anything that really sticks out to you when you think about it.
I'm guess I can go first if that's all right with y'all. One of my favorite moments working in tutoring services is just seeing those students that, like the ones that regularly come in, not because they need the help, just because they want, just extra reassurance that they're doing it right and just extra practice. And I mean, as a future education or as an education major and a future teacher, that just always makes me happy because I'm just like, hey, this student doesn't need to be here, but they're actively going out of their way to get extra practice, make sure that they know what they're doing. It just makes me happy because I'm just like, that's a good student right there.
I can go next if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to say that my favorite thing about working in the tutoring center is it's kind of similar to yours. It's the students that come in frequently to the point where we know them. They come in to make up tests. They come in to check out calculators. And it almost becomes like a friendship with these students each semester. And you make these new acquaintances every single semester. And another, I guess, favorite thing I have too is that, like you had said earlier, you become friends with people on the campus, like professors, other faculty, even like janitors and things of that nature. And it gives you like that almost homey feel every time you come to work.
Mhm.
So that is something that like I definitely enjoy, is like having a good work family, and also getting to meet all these different people who have so many different interests. Like we have students that come in for multiple topics. Like one will come in for biology and then the same one will come in for math. So I find that to be really cool. And then to watch them go through the semester and get A's by the end of the semester, it's just amazing to watch each one of these students grow.
Well, I can go next if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah.
My favorite moments are kind of when I'm first meeting with a student and I'm kind of learning more about them, because in my position, I kind of need to know a little bit more personal stuff. Like a few times that I've sat down with students this semester, they're like first or second year students, and they explain to me, well, when I was in high school, I didn't really study. I kind of just sat in class and listened, and that was enough to get 100 on a test. And college is not like that. And so the best parts, I think, for me are getting to know those like interesting stories. Like, okay, this is okay. So if this is where you're at, before college, this is probably something that could help you to transition into that. Maybe create like a note-taking system, this or that. And also just different, you never know why somebody is going to sign up for an appointment with us. So the way that our system works is actually unlike, we don't have like a specific place set up where, you come in and you can just talk to somebody. We are on the UNG Connect website. And so you can look up, Nighthawk Navigators, and you can see when we all have openings for appointments and just set up an appointment whenever you'd like. So I will get a notification and I have no idea why you're signing up. It could be for academic reasons. It could be that you're just trying to figure out where you can find events on campus, on wherever you are, or you're trying to figure out how to register. You've heard everyone talk about registration and that you're supposed to talk to an advisor. How the heck do I do that? You never really know why somebody is going to sign up with you. And in those first few minutes, you'll learn a lot about them, like what their whole major is. And like what their life was like before college, what their life is like now. You might find somebody who is working full time and they're an adult learner, so they have a completely different experience than you. All that stuff kind of makes it a more interesting experience than just meeting somebody on campus, stuff like that. It creates a more deep connection, and you're learning a lot about a person in like 30 minutes, basically.
Yeah, so my favorite moment, or I guess moments throughout the semester, it seems to be pretty similar to what has already been said. There seems to be a common thread here, but watching some of like the more shy, quieter students who second guess themselves, like come into session and aren't confident in their knowledge or in their ability to, find the right answer and do something or like answer the question right the first time. Watching them throughout the semester as they're coming consistently get more and more confident in themselves and willing to speak up and like willing to like take initiative and answer a question by themselves without me having to like encourage them so much, because they'll just be like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. And so I feel like that is such a transferable thing, and or at least I hope it is. I hope that what happens in a session, that building of confidence students can take outside of session and into other classes and other parts of their lives. And so that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, those are all really good, and I do see like a big correlation, like Anna said. And this podcast is called Facilitating the Light Bulb Moments, and I think we all kind of showed that it's really good for these services because you can help students have their like aha moment where everything just clicks into place, whether it be like on a specific subject or like with Nighthawk Navigators, like trying to figure out what college is and how you can do different things. Because I know my first semester, they just sent me a thing of classes I should take, and I just clicked register, and that schedule ended up being a mess. And I was like, no, I need more control over this than I originally thought. And so it's good to learn all these things and try to get through without going about it on your own, because I know a lot of people come in from high school and just be like, well, in high school I had to chug it through alone, so I'm gonna have to do that here. And it's not really the case, because there's so many things that colleges offer because they know it's a harder experience than high school. So do y'all think, to finish this off, do y'all think there's anything like that brings all of these services together in any way? I know Valentina's talked about it some with Navigators, that she kind of promotes the services, but do you think there's anything that kind of brings all these groups together just as one big thing at UNG?
Well, I think that one thing that brings us all together is just wanting students to succeed. And I think that goes for all of us and teachers when I say that. It's wanting to help them get to a point where they can go and be in the real world and do what they need to do and learn. And some people don't even know how to learn correctly, or how to, like, I want to say, study correctly. And you're going to need that for future things like future jobs and things of that nature.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. That we are all here because we want to be a helping hand, essentially. And something that I like about the differences is that we all kind of do it in a different environment. So there's the common underlying factor of we're all here to help, but maybe you want a more individualized experience, go to tutoring. Maybe you like the group discussion, you have SI. Maybe you just want to learn about the options, go to the Navigator. So we're all here to help.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, that we're all just here to help. And something I've done is if I'm tutoring a student, and the main areas I focus in on tutoring are biology, chemistry, and math. So if I'm tutoring a student and I always ask them like right off the bat, I'm like, hey, what professor do you have? Just so I can have a general idea of like who is teaching them. And then if they say a professor, I'm like, oh, that professor has an SI. Have you tried going to, and then I'll remember the name of whatever the SI facilitator is that facilitates for that class. I'll ask if they've been to their sessions or if they've been in professor office hours or stuff like that, because it all just comes down to is we all want students to succeed and be successful, and we all want to help them. And sometimes your service might not be the best, like, but you can refer them to other services that are. So that's why I'm glad that I got to hear Valentina talk about Nighthawk Navigators.
Yeah, and I would just add that something we've all touched on basically is that we're all students ourselves. Like, we all have been in these positions where we started out, we had no idea what we were doing, and maybe we got help from somebody who was an SI or who was a tutor, and that made a huge difference for us. And that's why we're in these positions and why we want to help, because we know exactly how it feels. And we feel like we have the ability to help in a very specific way. When you're a student and you see that there's another student that's willing to help you, it makes you feel more confident and not so judged. You feel like you're able to ask for help. And that's the whole point of all of these programs, to provide that help for students in a way that makes them feel comfortable. And we're, at the end of the day, we're all like connected in this really big community of UNG. We're on like so many different parts of North Georgia, yet we are all on a podcast here talking together about different ways to help students. We all are in different areas. We all have different majors. We all have different plans after college, but we're all here connected in this one way because we want to help each other succeed in this, you know, interesting, weird, fun part of life that is college.
Yeah, I like how Anna touched on that we're all so similar yet different in the way we go about it, because I think that's really important. Because if you find out that, like Anna said, you don't like the individualized experience, you need to be with a group, it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings if you're like, no, I don't think this is for me. We can just refer you to someone else, because most of us have the knowledge about different groups, at least a little bit, so we can know where to guide you, or we talk enough with professors or faculty members to try to figure out where you should go. So yeah, I think that is all I have for everybody. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
No, I think we're good. This was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. I've never been on a podcast before. I was talking to my my coordinator before this, and she was like, well, I hope it goes well. I'm like, I do too. I've never been on a podcast. I'm very excited. I'm going to refer as many people as possible to listen to it.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. I didn't know what to expect, but this was very interesting. And I like learning about, Nighthawk Navigators. I already was familiar with SI and tutoring services, though.
Yeah, this was definitely an eye-opener, and y'all are so kind. Like, this was so nice.
Oh, same to you. Same to you.
Oh.
Thank you guys for all hopping on and joining us in our attempt to make the resources known. And Victoria, any last things before we wrap up?
Just for anybody watching, if you have experienced any of these aha or light bulb moments in your life, you can actually email us now at ungsi5@gmail.com, and we can share a few in the next podcast. So if you want to do any of that, and when I share the podcast, I will include all of the Instagrams for all of these great services, so people will know where to go. So I will make sure to do that. Yeah, until next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Let's see. I'm trying to see what I can go off of. Do any of y'all